Good evening. We are the Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board. Today is February 17th, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order 5 p.m. And can we have an approval of tonight's agenda, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion's made by Mr. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Sherwin to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sherwin?
Aye.
Mr. Grace? Aye. Mr. Franzuto?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Draft minutes of February 3rd. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Any revisions or a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve as submitted. Second.
Motion's made to approve the draft minutes of February 3rd, 2026 by Mr. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Sherwin. All in favor, Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sherwin?
Aye.
Mr. Grace? Aye. Mr. Franzuto?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for Shirley Souza, a lifelong woman of the water and part of the husband-wife teams that commercially based golf for years. Thank you. We have nothing. No emails from Marine Department. No. It's playing to show on.
No, in case I want to share my screen.
Okay. Natural Resources Report, Tara Riley, please.
Okay, good evening. All right, we just had our seasonal position application period closed today at 4 p.m. We have about 125 applicants this year in 4 positions, so we have a lot of interviews to conduct.
That's cool.
It's really cool. There's a lot of I'd say overqualified people applying for jobs right now. So yeah, those are some great resumes for sure. We also offered out an offer for the new water quality specialist, and they have 5 days to accept. So fingers crossed that we have more staff because we need them. And I would be very happy with that. Other things, we've been testing out the weather monitoring station that's on our dock. It's been very interesting, comparing it to the steamship because they're at different heights and there's different temperatures involved, which I think will be better for the fishermen. It's about 3 degrees warmer, but it's also 4 feet lower to the water, which is closer to where the culling board level will be. So I'm hopeful that that will be a good switch when the time is ready. We've been testing out the call out system. I've been getting calls at like 3 a.m. for the past week and a half. It's really awesome. But it's working. We just got to fine tune some of it first. And we've got the hatchery going. We're working on rib mussels right now, conditioning those, growing our algae, and yeah, just getting everything ready. The Great Harbor Yacht Club has their Harbor House Symposium on March 20th and 21st, which is a Friday and Saturday, where they bring people together. I'm not exactly sure what the theme of this year is, but I will be giving an update on the eelgrass management plan and our water quality sampling from 2025, which also just came in. And so it'll be just a good way to start the season with a fresh update for everything. And that's kind of all I have right now, unless you guys have questions on anything I may have missed.
Have you been comparing the weather station at the hatchery to weather underground station that we use for temperature?
We haven't. it's been compared to the steamship because I think,
Something power station.
yeah, I think the quality of the weather stations are similar and the type of, I don't know, I don't understand. I'm learning all this weather
Okay.
stuff about all the different types of wind and how you can measure it and everything. But it's been, I think that was the one that was like most comparable to it. So our hope is to get that on Weather Underground. So we don't, there'll be several links to use if you want, but it'll also be available on Weather Underground under Brant Point. Town of Nantucket, Brant Point Weather Station, I think is what the name is.
Is the eelgrass habitat management area in Fifth Bend still active? Where's that been?
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Yeah, that was,
I noticed there's just one buoy the other day and I wasn't sure what the story was.
no, I know that sometimes there's an aquaculture float buoy up there when the float isn't there, but
Okay.
maybe there's a marker from where they had the restoration site still in place.
Okay,
I'll have to check and see what
We
that
have
is.
4 yellow buoys there.
there was only one there now. It's been
Yeah.
like that all as far as I've seen this winter.
Mhm.
Is it up far on the?
It's on
east?
the just
west
east of
corner?
Bass Shoal. In Fifth Bend.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on the natural resources report? Not seeing or hearing any. We'll move it right into old business unless there's any public comment on natural resources report. Old business, chapter 91 licensing, requirements, compliance, oversight. And we'll include the safe transfer of diesel and volume from truck to boat in this conversation for commercial fishermen. I've reached out to Harbor Fuel. Was told we simply don't deliver fuel to boats. I did not speak with the man in charge, simply what I was told, and the man in charge is not available. And Dennis Egan has not gotten back to me yet either, so I wish I had more news at this point, but I do not.
Mr.
Anybody?
Chairman,
Mr. Franzuto, please.
have we heard back from Great Harbor Yacht Club?
I have not received anything from them, no. No, sir. Peter?
Peter?
No.
Okay.
Anything new, anything, anybody wants to rehash on this? I suppose, while things are, kind of up in the air on several ends here, we're going to keep this on the agenda for future meetings until we come to some type of resolution, finality to it.
Just waiting to hear back from the fire department about my discussion with them. They have to say as far as what they would like to see or what's legally allowed to be done for a personal truck or for,
Okay, then you submitted a letter personally
Yes.
to them. Great. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so this is kind of a revision of our follow-up from raising the bushel limit from 5 to 6. And the select board giving Tara the go-ahead to raise it to 7 if she finds it feasible and sustainable to do so. So we've simply added this to the agenda as a revision to that follow-up to test the waters on increasing to a 7 bushel limit for the commercial based golfers. I spoke with one scalloper today, Dylan Wallace. He had a mate with him. They were in by 10:30 with 12 boxes. He said they're throwing back 10 seed to one adult and felt that it would be a good idea to increase the limit. In my carousing the waterfront around 10:30. I'm noticing most fishermen getting in around that time, except for the late departures. And, and just, it would be nice to certainly, poll some more fishermen, how they feel about it, but, I think it really comes down to how, sustainable that is for the fishery. It wouldn't be, mandatory. I realize there are, issues with maybe not enough openers. Maybe the market, or parts of the market, are not in favor of that, but sounds like off-island markets are certainly interested in more product, so. I know this may be a little early, Tara, but as far as making an assessment.
I mean, I honestly think it's like up to the people that are fishing right now at this point. I don't think 7 is gonna be different from 6, at least from like a resource standpoint. And I know that people are, losing days because of weather. So I think I would wanna hear maybe more than one person that was in favor of it. But I mean, I think that our department's all on board with, whatever is good for the fishery right now, the resource can handle it.
Jim, being a fisherman in the room, you wanna? Just add
Sure.
your 2 cents as far, as a member of the public.
Speaking as a member of the public, I feel like especially March, late in the season, there's not many guys going. And with the limit increases, it could be every year. Like if they're there to catch them. If they're not there to catch, you're not gonna catch them. There's no big new pressure on the fishery in March. People aren't gonna like jump in all of a sudden 50 boats out there because you increase the limit. It's just not gonna happen. So I don't see any reason why, the automatic increase in March every year, or an increase in March is an issue, every year, but I mean, it certainly could, it wouldn't matter.
I will say that I talked to Jeff about it today, because we were discussing about like the protocols. Since we don't have to go to the select board to make this decision, but he did say that since it's, it would be decided essentially at a SHAB meeting with a vote, that it would be nice if it could start the following Monday. So that's something to consider with,
Okay.
the meeting cycles that we have left.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
We would have to send out emails, like if there was a decision made, let's say we made a decision tonight, we would send out emails tomorrow notifying everyone that starting on Monday, it could go to 7.
Did they give you, did the select board say that's your decision basically from now on, or is that just for this year?
I think they just, I don't think they like the trickle regulations coming in like every time. Everyone has an idea, so I hope that in the future that we can just kind of, maybe at the start of the season, they can give us the leeway to go up so we can skip some of the
I feel like,
protocols.
that'd be a smart decision for the
Yeah.
future, and I feel like that should be at least for us to make a decision as a board. We should have at least, a handful of fishermen here to speak on it. Otherwise, it's not really. I feel like it's not appropriate for us to make that decision. Nobody's here to talk about it.
Thanks, Jim. I
Peter?
agree with Jim, and I'm thinking back to the last meeting where John Logan was saying he wanted to go out and get every single scallop. And finally got him to say what he meant by that was he wanted 10 bushels per license holder. And I thought, we can't recommend that. Or we can't tell Tara to make it go to 10, just because John wants it. It would have to be, we'd have to hear more.
I mean, the limit certainly has been increased in the past up to 10, a long time ago, but. My dad told me one year they just said, take whatever you can open. But that was a long time ago. And they had plenty of openers.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, they basically told them, it's like, we don't want to see them in the shell pile, not opened. But that's not,
Andy,
we're not in that case now.
you made a good point. We were talking on the phone. Well, let's say it went to 10. Who has a boat that can carry 20 boxes and have it be safe?
I'd say most of them are questionable.
Right,
Right, and so how about 14 boxes?
I mean. When we're moving seed before, I've had 20 bushels in my dad's boat, but it's, you don't wanna do that in any weather.
Right, that's all I'm thinking, and also, you know, having more of the guys saying. Yeah, or nay, I mean, if we took a vote and said, we want Tara to up it to 7. Could that be contingent on, you and Tara hearing from more fishermen? And then your decision could be made based on what you heard from people. Regardless of what we're making a recommendation, and then you decide. So if you hear from more than half of them, yes, let's do it, then you could say. Does that sound good to everybody?
I don't know, I don't really hear from the fishermen, unless I call them,
Well,
so.
that's what I mean. It's,
well, our next meeting is March 3rd. If we were to wait till March 3rd to make the vote, and then, the increase doesn't happen till the following Monday, that would make it March 9th. 3 weeks left to the season. I'd be more inclined to make that vote now. Whether we've heard from other scallopers or not, honestly, I think with a 7 bushel limit, scallopers are going to regulate themselves in a way, would be my thought on this, that they're not gonna get more than they can open, or more than they can, handle, to sell, depending upon who their buyer is, but
I have a question.
simply my opinion. Tara, please.
You said that Dylan Wallace said there were 10 seed to every 1 adult that he was finding, cause that seems like an awful lot of seed, like 90%, and I know that we kind of had a rule that we had talked about, that if the seed was like 75% or more, we would close an area if it was seed, and I was just wondering if, have you seen abnormal, that seems like a lot of seed, I haven't heard that this season at all.
Well, I mean, of course, as you fish an area down,
Right.
get more adults, of course, the ratio changes, but, I mean, there are some areas, with a lot of seed. Probably more areas that are approaching 75%, I would say, now, as we've caught more adults. I mean, a lot of these places can also change quickly too, like as you fish it, like you get 4 boats in one spot, and next thing you know, there's most of the seed, no adults left,
Yeah.
but,
His mate felt like it was 6-1, and Dylan jumped right in and said it was more like 10-1, and he felt that, obviously that's a very promising sign for next season. He also mentioned that with the ice movement and the ice clearing, he felt that it had cleared a lot of the moss and codium.
it did seem a little cleaner, I
Mhm.
felt like, and one thing that definitely changed, the water clarity is very good right now,
Mhm.
very good. Probably the best I've seen in years. And the amount of, like the crabs and stuff in the harbor.
Mhm.
Almost all the crabs either dead or like completely dormant. Even spider crabs, and any green crab or blue crab I've caught have been dead. Which I think is probably good for the skulls for next year.
Mr. Anderson.
So how many days have we actually lost?
That was a
I think
question
we're 15, I think,
15,
or
so
more.
I asked JC, I wasn't sure about February, how many we had lost.
I mean, in my opinion is if you already lost 15 days, even if you up it to 7 boxes. Per license, they're not gonna get back to where they would if they could have gone out every day. So it would be my opinion, we should vote to approve it. Going to 7 today.
And we could, earmark that for March 1st. Whatever the date is, March 1st or the first Monday of March. I think we have, the flexibility to do this in a number of different ways, with respect to waiting till the following Monday at least. I'm just a little concerned about waiting till the next meeting and then there only being 3 weeks left. I mean, I would prefer not to, extend the season with what's involved in doing that, so, to work within the, the timeline that's always been there for scalloping, this is really the only way to make up for the lost time. In looking at the 10-day forecast, you may miss a day next week, depending upon how fast the temperature comes up on Tuesday, but, it looks like it's gonna hit 19 Monday night, or Monday or Tuesday night, I'm not sure, but. And, wake up to low 20s in the morning, so. Beyond 10 days. Can't project. I don't think anybody can, so, any
Mr.
more
Chairman.
discussion? Mr. Pranzuro?
Yeah, yeah, I'm torn. Part of me says let's just open it up this coming Monday and just be done with it. I think the point that was made that is a good one is that this time of year they're only going to take what they can open and they're only going to take what they're going to sell because they, they're not going to freeze it. So I think at a minimum we ought to open it up this coming Monday.
Thanks, Dave, and that's another aspect to it as well that Dylan mentioned was there are some markets out there that would still like to freeze some more for the summer season. And this is kind of like, the last 5 weeks to be able to do that. So, Mr. Anderson, did you
No,
have a motion?
I was gonna make a motion that we increase the bushel limit to 7 per license on the first Monday of March, 2026.
What's that? I don't have a calendar. It's the first Monday of March, end up being. Well, Tuesday's the
make it
third.
second
so
Monday.
That would be the.
What?
I would make it next Monday.
Next, okay. I couldn't do the math quick enough in my head without a calendar.
So,
I don't. Are you guys okay with that?
yeah,
I feel like
I'm
this
fine
is,
with that.
it's on the agenda, and
Yeah.
I feel like people, if they want to know what's going on, they can come to the meeting and voice their opinion and.
Right.
It's just gonna be.
So it's the 23rd.
Days.
23, yeah.
So I'll amend my motion from first Monday in March to February 23rd, Monday, February 23rd with the increase.
Second,
Okay, the motion's made by Mr. Anderson to recommend to Natural Resources to raise the bushel limit for commercial scallopers from 6 to 7, beginning February 23rd. That motion's been seconded by Mr. Franzuto. Any more discussion on this motion? All in favor, Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sherlin will abstain. Mr. Brace? Aye. Mr. Franzuto?
aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Monday and Tuesday recreational scalloping. There were a few people, I'll address this to you, Tara. That noticed we raised the limit. The bushel limit for commercial scallopers, and they're wondering about why they're left out of the conversation. Honestly, I didn't think of it. I'm thinking, who's out bush raking this time of year? But there were 4 people interested in seeing Monday and Tuesday open, and as Mr. Franzuto said, Monday and Tuesday are historically closed to give some time off to the Shellfish warden, and that's understandable in October. But this time of year, obviously the Shellfish warden is on duty Monday and Tuesday with the with the commercial scallopers being active, so, what do we do to accommodate these gentlemen that are, hoping to get out there and get some more before the season ends, if anything?
In my opinion, this falls under the trickle regulations, like we just redid all of our regulations, and I think that this conversation can happen, and I don't think it's a problem, but I don't think I can speak for the department or the warden about how he feels about Monday and Tuesdays. So I think if we're gonna be talking about when commercial season is gonna start, after this season for next year, and we're gonna talk about changing things there possibly, that this would fit really nicely into that. And so I personally would say, ask if we could table it until the next season.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Franzuto?
Yeah, Tara's exactly right. Plus, she doesn't have carte blanche to change the day around like she does with the bushel authorized by the selectmen. So this would take a process. Tara, is it in the regulation or in the bylaw? I didn't look.
I think I'm not sure if it's the bylaw or not.
All right, well, I'll ferret that out, but we don't have enough time between now and the end of March to do a public hearing and decide to get it implemented for this year anyway. So, like Tara said, this is something we could discuss during the summer. Maybe we get the same flexibility that we have with commercial bushels or for recreation, and maybe again, like we've all agreed over the last couple meetings, is the fishery has evolved. Okay, again, I don't mean to bring up ancient history, but the days of bringing bay scallops ashore in 30-gallon garbage cans and pouring them out on the beach in October, those days are over. So I think we need to rethink this whole dynamic and get the same flexibility for recreational, be it days or bushels or whatever, gain that same flexibility that we have for commercial over the next few months.
Well said. Thank you, Dave. So Tara, maybe we can work on a description of what this discussion will entail at some point so that we can properly, word it on our agenda of what all we're going to be discussing. The front loading of the season for the commercial scallopers next year, possibly beginning with an increased bushel catch. The recreational question here and, think about anything else so that we can combine it all into one discussion and one proposal to the select board. Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman,
Peter.
there's 4 people that you speak of, they need to come to this meeting and tell us why.
Yeah.
I know the source of, I know you heard about those 4 people, but it doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know who they are. They're not in front of me. They need to come in and say, we want to do this and this is why, and,
Would it make sense in the future to have something in the regulations or bylaws that says if limit increases is also increased or days are open for recreational? Like it's an automatic.
It was
Yeah,
also suggested that perhaps a community survey goes out about and survey the community about how they feel about recreational days.
I mean, at one point, I think it's changed, but at one point, Shab voted to have soft shell clamming on Saturdays after a certain date, which I don't think is the case anymore, but at one point that was open on Saturdays because sometimes Sundays, the weather's crappy or the tide's wrong or whatever. But I think that was
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Franzuto?
Yeah, just a quick quick look at this, it's in chapter 130, which is a bylaw change. So that means that it specifically says Wednesday through Sunday. Um, so you would have to go to town meeting to change that. That's not, I'm not saying that as it's impossible. I'm just saying it's a process, but I think it's a process that we have to evolve with this fishery. And so recommendations by the biologists gives us and them flexibility to make some of these kinds of changes. So anyway, that's just my thought. I think we've got to evolve with it.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave, would,
Jim?
Yeah.
if we were gonna go to Saturday, just for example, if we were gonna go to Saturdays fishing or base golfing, would that have to go to select board or town, or how is that in the regulations?
I think it's already written in the regulations that you can do Saturday.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
okay,
Okay,
maybe change that in the regulations for recreation. You can open it if you want to.
There you go.
Thought.
certainly the more flexibility on this end, the better, as every season is different. So this will be, a very good discussion for spring and early summer, I'd like to say, so that we're prepared, prior to the season opening next fall. Any more discussion on the Monday, Tuesday recreational scalloping? Next item is no wake zone solutions, getting harbor master to move buoys further out. We spoke about this at the last meeting. Mr. Ponzuto informed us that, getting that buoy to be moved out further is, also a town meeting item. Clarify
Yeah,
that.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's 100% clarification. It's a town meeting item, so if we wanna get that buoy moved out, we need to be working on, uh, authoring an article.
Right, right. And we'll author the article and I'm sure that during the spring and summer, other stuff may come up, but again, I think we have to evolve and, so we have a couple articles for next town meeting that we can be working on.
Thank you, Dave. Anything else on this one?
Tara, is there any kind of reasonable wave monitoring buoy that could be put in place at some locations to kind of get some data?
I'd have to look into it. I know we looked at some wave attenuation type monitors. They weren't buoys. And see like what that looks like. I know that, we can measure the eelgrass bed regression back into the shallows from the deep. We can do some stuff like that, but I feel like it takes a little bit of time to get that kind of data.
Sure.
But we could look at, I think I talked about this at the previous meeting. We could look at all of the sites that we monitor in the jetties area and the bird shed, because there's probably about 10. And we could see how that's changed over time. And match it up with increased pressure from ferries and stuff like that. We could take a look at that.
Mr.
Dave?
Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think, Tara's got a great working relationship with Emily. And I know they've done a lot of monitoring and hopefully maybe they have some data for the horse shed and Hobart Avenue. So yeah, I just think that it's worth looking into. I mean, it's funny that, not to belabor this, but it's funny that Tara brought up wave attenuation. There was also a recommendation. Somebody had talked to me about putting a wave attenuator along there. to cut the velocity of the wake. And I got to tell you, first of all, it'd be tough to permit. Number one. Number two, the way what that looks like is it looks like a float, a series of floats with baffles that hang down in the water to attenuate the wave. They do this in these big um, North Sea ports to protect marinas and breakwaters and stuff behind them. And I've seen them. I actually saw one in, of all places, in Florida, in northern Florida. Um, but uh, I think it'd be just easier to change the damn regulation, move the buoy out to number 5 in the main channel where it gets deep, and call it even. It's gonna add about a minute, 2.5 minutes to the trip, and be a lot more effective than trying to do some kind of mechanical attenuation or study or worry about this and that. We just recommend to move the thing out to number 5.
Well, as you know, Dave, we've spoken about this for years. We've sent letters out to the fast ferry operators at least 3 times.
Well, I sent them for years myself. So this is an ongoing thing. Uh, I don't remember, and Jim and I were talking about this the other day, but I don't remember how it got from Brant Point to the cut. I don't know how we got there. I don't remember. I don't remember writing anything. Maybe we did change it. I just don't remember. But uh, the argument has always, well, not the argument. The discussion has always been, why can't it be out at the entrance to the channel? And my suggestion, my recommendation, and if the science people tell me different, that's fine, but I'd listen. But I don't think you have to be that dramatic. I think you move it out a couple 100 yards to 5 till you get to deep water, and you call it even. And if you still, after monitoring, see degradation in those 2 areas of the eelgrass, then you rethink it. But I don't think it needs to go all the way out to the NB buoy or between 1 and 3 out there. I think 5 would be plenty. And anyway, that's just we'll have plenty of time to discuss that.
Dave, does it get moved seasonally?
Now,
No, it stays in the same place year round.
yeah, the other thing I'm going to recommend too is, and that Sheila probably won't appreciate this, but that's too bad. I think the buoys. I personally think, having set aids for this town for 25 years, I think the buoy's too small. I do. The other day I came down the channel on the ice. You couldn't see it. It's not an ice buoy, and I wouldn't expect them to switch it over to an ice buoy because they're expensive. But I think a larger class buoy, uh, with the proper orange lettering and striping, would help everybody realize that that's where the zone begins.
Sounds good, Dave. When Jim first brought this to our attention to have on the agenda, just to clarify, Jim's didn't just want to suggest that the buoy be moved. He, right from the get-go, Jim thought that we should back up this request with data, and which is certainly not a bad idea at all. And so, Tara, if there is a method of doing so, or a way to reach out to some type of entity to assist in that, you know, some type of a monitor to obtain some data would certainly be helpful.
Tara, what was the first years you did dive surveys?
The first year the town took over the dive surveys was 2019, but we have data on all the same sites done in the same way since 2006.
Who did it before?
It was, under Mariah Mitchell, like Peter
Okay.
Brace and Val.
Mr. Chair, isn't there a way to can we increase the size of the buoy now if Dave's making that potential recommendation? Cause it's not a move, but at least people might be more in your face. I've been on that high-speed ferry and I kind of sit there as the game is like, when are they gonna slow down?
Mhm.
And a lot of times they blow past it or they hit it and they slow down as compared to, you know,
Being
no weight.
slowed down when they
Yeah.
hit, yeah,
There's no reason why we can't petition, this board could petition the harbor master to increase the size of that buoy. The location needs to go to town meeting, but she can put as big a aid there as she wants. Um, and I think part of it is it's because the federal aids are two classes up from what we're using. Therefore, the size differential is that much more exacerbated. So I think, we could talk to Sheila and say, hey, when you're ordering your buoys for this coming year, order a bigger Gilman buoy for there, and let's start with that, and then we'll go to town meeting and get it moved.
Thank you, Dave. Anything else? On the no wake zone? New business, eelgrass management plan with priorities. Tara, do you have something for us there?
Yeah. See if Peter will share. Maybe else can already share. Okay. I can hand these out to you. If you guys don't want to look at the screen. Okay, so this is, the eelgrass management plan was completed, last year, and so the people that were working to compose the eelgrass management plan was largely the Nantucket Land and Water Council, Emily and Jay, Yvonne from the UMass Field Station, and myself in Griffin. And we had a lot of eelgrass experts and stuff weigh in as well. And so for the eelgrass plan work group, it's the same group. So we're just moving forward with our first year, and we decided that we needed a list of priorities for 2026 to start with. And we vetted these through the eelgrass advisors that we've had help us with the plan. So I was just gonna go over them real quick. So the first one, obviously, is the start of every plan is to establish an implementation committee. So that's done and complete. We meet the first Wednesday of every month at 11 o'clock. And we have, since it's a working group, we assign homework for each month for everybody to do and complete so we can keep things moving along. So under number one, governance and implementation, we want to review the municipal bylaws and regulations, and the wetland protection laws to make sure that the language in there is eelgrass friendly, and has those protections in place. And if the language in there could be improved, that's something we're going to talk about. But the Land and Water Council and Jeff have volunteered to kind of do that review, and that's kind of an ongoing process that's going to occur during this whole season. For the monitoring, as an island, we needed to get all the scientists together and develop a monitoring and data collection standards so that everybody's collecting the same data in the same way, so that we can compare data from between our projects and between sites. And so we're working on establishing or adopting, I should say, protocols through an organization called Seagrass Net. And it just kind of explains how you're supposed to do surveys, what kind of information you need to collect, how you need to collect it, and what you need to record, and samples you might need to send in. And so we're going through that, making sure it's appropriate for Nantucket, and making sure that everyone that could be involved in eelgrass research here signs on to, this is how you're going to collect data, and this is how you're going to share it with everyone. The other thing is we're selecting eelgrass health indicators just to make sure we want to understand what the thresholds are for eelgrass in our area. Those are largely already defined and in literature already. So it's really just kind of creating a table for Nantucket, talking about upper and lower limits of light penetration and clarity that's best for eelgrass beds, stuff like dissolved oxygen, sulfide concentration in soils, just kind of listing that down, that this is where we want to be, and this would be ideal for Nantucket eelgrass beds. For research and environmental, so, although we're collecting a lot of data and establishing a lot of protocols, we didn't want to stop research progress. So we are still moving forward and implementing some targeted research on eelgrass. And so you guys heard from Land and Water Council, Emily and RJ are doing the eelgrass friendly moorings. Yvonne from the UMass Field Station is working on some genetics of eelgrass, and Alyssa from Boston University is doing some additional eelgrass health assessments that she did. I think she did them 5 years ago in Nantucket Harbor, so she's going to repeat them, kind of see where they're at. And then our department has the dredge study that's going to happen in the fall. So those are the targeted ones. I imagine we'll tick off, a few every year as we move towards different initiatives. Let's see. Again, this next one kind of goes with what I was talking about with the table of environmental thresholds. The next one, habitat enhancement. One of the action items was continue shellfish restoration activities, which we are already doing. So that was a nice one to write down and kind of just know that that was already in action. And then the last one was the one that I think I've mentioned to you guys and wanted to talk about, talking about discharge management and kind of understanding some bigger picture items that I think would be good if you guys decided you wanted to investigate this sort of thing. Sheila had come in here and talked about the pump out activity that occurred at the town level, but we don't really always have the information that's happening in the boat basin. We have to ask for it, and we don't always get everything. And so I think it would be important as a community to kind of understand the load that's being pumped out. And then like a bigger view is just understanding like the no discharge zones. And let me see if I can get this picture up. It's gonna flip over. Okay, this isn't the best picture, but anyways, the gray areas are, federal waters allowable discharge, and everything around the vineyard is no discharge, and mostly Nantucket Harbor. But there's that corridor in between Nantucket Harbor and Hyannis where, I'm not 100% certain at the discharge activity that's going on, but it seems like it's probably allowable to discharge there. And so I have no idea what protocols ferries have in place, commercial ferries for offloading waste, if that's 100% pumped, in port, or if there are circumstances or options they have, during busy days to discharge in the sound in between trips or while they're on trips. But it's something that we've been talking about, like on incoming tides and how that could affect our water quality in our harbor. We do get, some fecal coliforms in some areas that I feel like are a little bit unexplained and random and that sort of thing. And, figuring out the source of that would be great. But I think, just kind of understanding the protocols and practices of all this commercial activity going on in between the harbor and the mainland, I think might help. I don't know if it's possible to make that a no discharge zone. I have zero idea on that, but
I-
a pipe dream for sure.
Mr. Chairman,
Dave,
yeah, I should know, but I don't, but I'll find out tomorrow. I I thought, and I'm maybe I'm right along with Tara as a pipe dream, but I thought that they had they had through the state and federal government had um, come up with a prohibition on pumping in Nantucket Sound, but I can find that out tomorrow. No problem at all. Um, and one of the people that is very well versed in all of this is the same person that I brought before was Steve McKenna from Coastal Zone Management, because they're the ones charged with all of this stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna find that out. But I thought that um, that was a no discharge zone. But if it isn't, then she's exactly right. We we need to find that out and do something. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. If the feds decide that they're not going to make that a federal no discharge zone, then that's an uphill battle. Uh, but her other points that are exceptionally important and well made are the fact that what are their protocols for pumping out in Hyannis and in Nantucket. So anyway, I'm gonna do a little bit of research on that, but that truly bothers me.
I think some of this confusion, Dave, about the sounds possibly could come from the Steamship Authority voluntarily has offered not to pump out at all during their route. And as far as the fast ferry goes, I'm not sure, but that's why they changed their uh, restroom systems to be just about waterless, and they're pumping out both in Hyannis and here while they're docked for their changeovers. Within the half hour, you'll see them
Yeah.
with
Oh
that
yeah.
hose.
Highline's
Oh,
very diligent about that, but I just don't.
yeah,
If they're
yeah.
doing it out of the sense of doing the right thing, that's wonderful. However, I just like to know, uh, what the law is on that. Tara, do you believe that that area south of Nantucket is not protected?
I
Not that
would
it.
say, I mean, this is a EPA map. I realize it's not a great map. I had another one and it's exactly the same,
Okay. All right.
that one.
So it's no discharge of state
Yeah.
water, is that correct?
But I was under the impression that there's no discharge 3 miles, but I feel like on some of those areas, it looks like a lot more than 3 miles.
Like Cape Cod Bay?
Yeah,
What's interesting is Nantucket Sound is managed as state waters for fisheries, but it's federal waters technically for other reasons.
Mr. Brace.
So a long time ago, when I wrote for the Nantucket Beacon, I did a story about the steamship authority, and was told by either the captain or the mate that at least the Eagle had an onboard sewage treatment system where they treated the water and made it so that if they had to, they could pump it over. Do you think that's true, Dave?
That is true back then. I'm hoping that they've improved their thinking where they had a chlorinator macerator system on the Eagle. We actually inspected it, but and they did water discharge samples and all kinds of stuff. But I would hope that smarter heads have prevailed since, and it's not done.
I mean, they,
Whether it's prohibited or not is one question. Whether it's done or not is a whole nother question. But I would just hope that, smarter heads would have prevailed. I mean, if we put the federal no discharge zone in effect in 1993.
Right.
So anyway, I'll do a little digging on this. I need to be better informed on this.
I feel like the ferry with their route and timing of their route would have no reason not to pump out enhanced ramps like it. I mean, it's every 2.5 hours, you can sign me that much of a kind of sewage, probably.
And I also know that when they read when they had the when they had the Gray Lady 4 built, they increased the capacity of the holding tank on that from the Gray Lady. But they're still running a couple small boats back and forth between here and the vineyard and Hyannis and the vineyard and everything. Anyway, I just think we as a board need to get better informed so Tara can fight the fight here.
Thank you, Dave and Jim and Tara. This is, a great detail here. So I want to commend you for this and whomever else is involved. And please keep us on top of your progress. I have one question on the dredge study, how that correlates with dredging plan. I certainly can understand that protecting eelgrass would be a huge part of actual dredging. So what is can you elaborate more on where the dredge study fits into correlating with the eelgrass management and the upcoming dredge plan?
It's separate. I mean, the dredge plan is for navigation. Are you talking about the town?
Yes.
Yes, so this is completely separate, funded separately. This is something that came about when, we realized how many fishermen, scalpers have switched to a different dredge design and we wanted to document it.
Okay,
And so,
this doesn't have to do with navigational
no,
dredging. Okay,
this is
all
the
right.
difference between the traditional dredge.
All
and
right. Okay, the study between the two style dredges. Gotcha. All right. I just, as you will recall, I'm sure that my concern, and Jim brought it up earlier, the eelgrass restoration project in Fifth Bend, and how basically it's failed, and there's just simply so much sand there. It would be my not being a scientist, but I think it's safe to say so much sand has smothered that area that eelgrass root system just isn't getting down far enough to the nutrient loaded mud that it needs to lock into. As you know, I've always been hopeful that part of the dredge plan would include some test sites to get rid of this smothered areas and try to rejuvenate some old eelgrass and shellfish beds while dredging is taking place. And I believe that was vocalized enough during the public input sessions for the dredge plan. How far that has gone into the dredge plan, we haven't heard any updates on the plan itself. It would certainly be nice to know what the outcome, how that plan is forming.
We could ask Vince to come in and give you an update.
And who,
Vince,
oh, okay, great. That would be great. Thank you. Board members, any questions, comments on, this, eelgrass protection and restoration plan?
So, the land council has just given up on Fifth Bend. Just didn't work out there.
This fund didn't work out. The outcome was oddly related to spider crabs. They documented it twice. And, less than like 12% of the eelgrass restoration projects are successful. So, I mean, that's why we're, the priority here is protection. Because you can lose eelgrass in one area and gain it in another in the same year. And so as long as you have that same biomass going, that's okay. You can have like a net loss and a gain. But yeah, we're trying to keep all the eelgrass that we have as the goal first. And then we'll look at restoration projects.
Did it fail because of the amount of spider crabs eating the eelgrass?
It did. They have like video documentation, like they would plant the grass and the grass would grow and sprout. And then they have like video of the spider crabs just eating the young shoots, just decimating them. They said it was like, just like a crab party under there.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Cause I mean, there's a lot of spider crabs in the Heather Harbor in general.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the place I would say there's the most, or we catch the most.
In Fifth Bend.
Well, up harbor in general, like
Yeah.
you don't catch them as much further down harbor, but it's very interesting.
It was, we had no idea.
I mean,
that
there's eelgrass in Fifth Bend Bass Shoal currently, but it's probably not as big an area as it has been historically, in the last 25 years, but
Mhm.
it's very interesting. So we almost need to have a bounty on spider crabs
Maybe.
versus green crabs.
We saw a lot more spider crabs and green crabs in all our surveys this year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
For once.
You can eat
You
them.
know, it's, yeah.
You can eat them.
Mr. Chairman,
Dave,
yeah, not to belabor this, but that on their website, it says you cannot pump, dump, or discharge sewage treated or untreated into Nantucket Sound. The area is designated as a no discharge zone, meaning all boat sewage must be disposed of at authorized onshore pump out facilities. However, if you read down through the descriptions and you look at the map, it comes up as the map that Tara has up on the screen right now. So the map is contradictory to the words. The word says all waters, including Nantucket Sound, but that's the reference map. So we got to find out better information.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Peter,
Dave, wouldn't they just be referencing 3 miles out within Nantucket Sound? You think that that's what they're saying, although they're not delineating them and saying that they're just being vague, right?
Right. Yeah, it's to me it's vague. I mean, it's contradictory in the very first paragraph. It says cannot pump, dump, or discharge sewage treated or untreated into Nantucket Sound. So, anyway, I'm gonna do some they've got some other verbiage down below here that looks contrary to me too. So anyway, I'll talk to McKenna. McKenna will know right away.
thank you, Dave. Thanks for doing some research during the meeting.
Yes,
Yes.
like
I
we
miss
said
it.
for years, we take poop from everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Bossy used to do that all the time and get questions answered during the meeting, and I always admired that.
That's because I have a short memory.
Yeah. Any more discussion on the plan? Questions, comments? Thank you, Sarah. Public questions or comments on tonight's meeting? Anything anybody would like to have on the agenda for our next meeting? Anything you'd like to recap from tonight's meeting? Our next meeting is March 3rd. There's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Can you hold on?
Yes.
Can I get your name?
Yeah, Kai Quigley, the environment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kai.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's made by Mr. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Sherwin to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor, Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Sherwin?
Aye.
Mr. Brace?
Aye.
Mr. Franzuto?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. This meeting's adjourned 6:06 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
You as well.